Hey folks, welcome to our first ever edition of What's Hot and What's Not in Training, Learning, and Development. I'm Brad Karsh from JB Training Solutions, and we're delighted to bring you the latest trends in this field. So I'm going to start with what's hot. I get asked all the time, hey Brad, what are other companies doing? What are you reading about? What's the pulse of learning and development? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is storytelling. We're getting a lot of requests for storytelling programs. Those are programs that really, to me, take presentation skills to the next level. It's not enough to just present effectively, but what's the tale? What do you want people to walk away with? What's going to be memorable, powerful, and what exudes executive presence? Well, a lot of it has to do with the policies and processes of storytelling, how you can bring your business ideas to life. The next thing that's really hot is we're hearing a lot from people about learning curriculums. Let me explain. It's one thing to do a training program, but what happens 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the line? Are people still remembering that stuff? Is it still resonating with them? Are they utilizing it each and every day? So we're learning that more and more companies are adopting something of a learning curriculum, reinforced learning. It may kick off with your standard full-day training program, let's say on how to be a great manager. But then every 6, 8 weeks, there's some hit, there's some follow-up, some piece of bite-sized learning. Maybe it's a quick webinar or a podcast. Maybe it's getting the group together in a cohort and having them address a topic in a small group setting every 6 weeks or so. Or maybe it's a peer challenge or something you as the manager need to bring back to your team. But the notion is keeping that learning alive. That's another thing that's really hot, that learning curriculum and reinforced learning. The final thing that's hot are these sweet kicks that I'm sporting right now. Take a look at these things, all right? Am I hip or what? I'm 50 years old, people, and I'm wearing these cool kicks. I have to admit my wife bought them for me, but they're hot. I got to keep up. And that's the scoop on what's hot this month. Now, what's not so hot? All right, we just talked about what's hot. Now, what's not hot? What's on the down list? What are people talking about that isn't so big these days? The first one, annual reviews. I cannot tell you how many companies that I work with have said, Brad, we're done with annual reviews. The once a year 17-page document that is a repository of every single thing that happened over the last year. Those things are a way of the past. I would hate to be in the annual review business. I don't know who's in the annual review business, but I hate to be in it. You know what people are doing now? More frequent check-ins. They might be quarterly quick pulses. They might be monthly touch bases, spot coaching, creating a feedback culture. We've worked with a ton of companies this year about creating a feedback culture. How can you create an honest interplay of how people are actually doing on a much more frequent basis? Okay. Annual reviews, forget about them. Check-ins, spot coaching, that's where the action is. The other thing, millennial attrition. Again, we all know about millennials. I love millennials, I'm a big fan, but they're not the most loyal employees, or at least that's the perception. And to some extent the reality. Statistics show that the average millennial spends about 15 months max in their first job. And companies are saying, Brad, why should I invest in these people if they're going to be gone in 15 months? Here's a new way to think about millennial attrition. We know millennials aren't going to stay 30, 40, 50 years like our parents did and generations before them. But think about it this way. If the average millennial is staying 12 to 18 months, what if you could get them not to 12 to 18 years, but what if you could get them to 3 to 7 years? Think what a profound difference that would make in your organization. Think about how much you would save in terms of turnover costs, in hiring expenses. Think what you'd save in terms of brain drain and knowledge transfer. The impact is powerful. So what I want you to think about is forget about millennial attrition. All right, try to retain them. Think 12 to 18 months, push them to 3 to 7 years. That's the goal. And the final thing that is not hot at all are these glasses I've been sporting recently. All right, now I have turned 50, so I have difficulty reading. And unfortunately, they broke. Now, they still kind of work, but I would argue that they're not the most fashionable item. My advice, stay away from those. Folks, there you have it. The first edition of What's Hot and What's Not from JB Training Solution. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We love to talk learning and development. See you next time.